we're streaming to the internet. We'll probably be able to be seen right now on YouTube, bro. So let me go over to YouTube and make sure that it's going green on the YouTube side. It's going green on YouTube side. Internet will probably be able to be seen right now on YouTube, bro. So let me go over to YouTube and make sure that it's going green on the YouTube side. It's going green on that feedback. The internet will probably be able to be seen right. Yeah. I cut this one. That feedback. The internet will probably be able. There it is. Perfect. We're looking good, man. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And we need some love, man. Come on, get off there. Give us some love. Come on. Hey, everybody. How you doing? It's your man, Tim Black. Welcome to Tim Black at Night Show. I'm so glad you can make it here on Doomsday. I really appreciate you. I got a great guest, man. I met this guy when I went to the Lee Camp show, man. We hung out. We had a couple beers, man. He is actually as funny in person as he is on video. So I will attest to that. None other than my man, JFOD. Give it up for JFOD.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me, man.
Man, dude, thank you for being had. I appreciate it.
Got it.
So JFOD, man, let's jump right into nuclear Armageddon, man. Dude, are you scared, man? Do you have like a blanket, a comfy blanket, or like how are you getting through the last couple of hours, man?
Dude, I ain't scared of shit, Tim. Okay, now, I don't know this for sure, but I really hope I'm right. I mean, once you start paying attention to politics for long enough, you see the underlying patterns repeat themselves, right? The actors sometimes stay the same, sometimes they change. Every few years, we prop up North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, as the great boogeyman. It serves our purposes for a few news cycles. The American psyche gets battered and beaten into submission and fear and stuff like that, the brink of nuclear war. And then it just stops, goes away, and then we forget about it somehow because of our short attention spans. And then the next thing comes up, the next shiny, terrifying object. Like think about a couple years ago when we got scared to death about this Ebola situation, right? And then it just stopped. We were about to close our borders. We weren't going to let our heroes, our Doctors Without Borders, come back, who were going, to these nations to try to fight a terrible epidemic. And then there was one case of Ebola in the States, and once that went away, it stopped. Yeah, Wolf Blitzer, who brought us to the brink of terror, doesn't have to apologize for being a piece of human garbage, to the American people. I mean, I don't know how that guy wakes up in the morning and looks at himself and goes, "I'm still a journalist. I'm still a journalist. I'm still a journalist." I mean, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. But the thing is, the North Korea thing, I think it's gonna blow over. And guess what? Hey, guess what happens when you put more sanctions on countries? It pushes them into a corner. It pushes wounded animals into a corner. I'll tell you what it doesn't do. It doesn't help the people of those nations. It just makes strongman leaders stronger. It does nothing to help the people, kind of rise up and have any sort of democratic overthrow or anything like that. We've seen it in Iraq, what the sanctions did, to Iraq, even before Gulf War II, you know what I mean? And we see it all the time. So it's a bullshit tactic. And, I bet Trump thought oh, hey, when I threw those bombs into Syria, finally the media called me presidential, CNN and MSNBC were kissing my ass. Rachel Maddow and Brian Williams were circle jerking me while talking to fucking Marco Rubio. And Brian Williams was quoting Leonard Cohen about the majesty and beauty of our weapons, which made me want to freaking just fucking take his fucking skull and curb stomp him and have every one of his blood corpuscles pop out of his neck. Okay, maybe I took it a little too far there.
So you mean to say, J5, man, you believe that this is all a bunch of smoke and mirrors and they're just trying to do this to distract us? I don't know. Maybe Trump is being sandwiched into doing it. The thing that got me, man, was the fact that Russia and China went along with the sanctions. I'm like, what the hell? That's that kind of threw me.
That's a fair point. I don't think it's a total distraction. I don't think anybody in the international community wants North Korea to get nuclear weapons. I just think the honest question is, why are we interested in North Korea?
Yeah.
It's because you think it's because we want to bring democracy to the people of North Korea?
Absolutely,
are you fucking
man.
kidding me?
Absolutely. That's all we're about is helping ourselves. I mean, helping people. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, our tight-knit relationship with Saudi Arabia undermines any pretense that we give a fuck about democracy and human rights any place in the fucking world.
So true.
And the thing is, look, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I mean, I'm sure there's fear of them getting, but the truth is, the actual truth is where North Korea is at is they have the weapon or version of the weapon. They don't have the delivery system set up yet. They actually don't have the capabilities. And, and the truth is there should be some sort of international kind of like, UN-based situation to keep them from armament. But at the same time, it has to be acknowledged that they've been ostracized from the entire international community. And guess what? Is it great to live in North Korea? Probably not. But from what I've seen, all the kids have ice skates, so that's something.
I did see that. Like everything coming out of North Korea, man, is so suspect. But I agree with you, man. Like, I think North Korea is not as big a threat as they're trying to make it out to believe. Make us all believe, make us all quake. And you're right, man. Like Trump, I see him as a guy who felt he had to go after Russia a little bit, just to save face, just kind of save his presidency. But this whole thing, they're like, the media was like, look, we need more raw meat from you, Trump. You ain't going to be able to just give us this. You need to give us something else to write about. Or we're going to go back to writing about you and writing about all your Russian collusion and Russian business deals. And we're going to keep running that shit on rotation. So, he went to this. I'm looking at Kim Jong-un, and I don't know, man. A country that doesn't even keep its lights on at night. I don't know what that's about. Like, we were talking about that the other night. I'm like, damn, no lights at night. They're blocked off from the world. But Nikki Haley, she sat down there today, bro, and she said, look, we're doing this to help the people of North Korea, too. Like these people, from what I understand, North Koreans are starving, bro. Starving. And now we're going to cut off the way they make money, like make it harder for them. Their number one trade exporter is China or something. So, dude, I don't know, man. I guess there's some Americans who still feel like we do this for democracy, but come on, bro.
Well, this is what it is. America is the biggest imperialist country in the world, right? Over 700 military bases, et cetera, more death and destruction in our hands than you can really, combine with the rest of the world right now. And guess what? Americans like to feel like, okay, at least with North Korea, they're evil. I mean, look at the way that guy dresses. Oh, come on. They're crazy. They think he's a living God. At least we're the good guys. Where it's like, hey, asshole, why don't you go back to the Korean War and actually look at the history and look what happened there and look at our interaction in that country that have contributed to how things are. I mean, it's hilarious.
And JFOD, there's a lot of people probably going, these people are talking against America, but these people who believe that we're speaking against America just don't get it, man. We're just speaking the truth. It's not about patriotism or nationalism, man. The truth is, right, like we screwed up North Korea. We gave them a lot of money, and they were so pissed that we screwed them over back in the Korean War that what they did was they said, you know what? We're going to save this money. We're not going to feed our people. We're not going to build a whole bunch of infrastructure. What we're going to do is we're going to beef up our military. The money that they got to build up their military, some of that money came from us paying them. And they just said, you know what? We're not going to take it. So also, JFOD, I believe, bro, that the news, like when we get these media reports that like Kim Jong-un fed somebody to a pack of dogs or like he's got a human, coffee grinder or something, like I'm really questioning all that shit, man. Like,
well, of course, man. That's known as, okay, two things I want to say. First, it's known as atrocity propaganda, and we'll talk about that. And guess how I know that? Because we Americans are very, very good at it. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, what I want to say is anybody that thinks that we're being anti-American by, calling out ridiculous neocon policies and a kind of a warlike mentality, it's the most patriotic thing you can do, to actually question what the powers to be are doing. And anyone that calls you anti-American for it, it's like they really, really need to check themselves. And guess what? I'll take that heat. I'll take that flack any day of the fucking week, because it's like, wake the fuck up and realize that sadly, more of the American economy than we care to admit is based on the war machine. And that's a huge fucking problem. Absolutely. And guess what? I don't want our service members, our heroes, to go fight and die to enrich special interests. I want them, not to be wantonly thrown into wars for fucking oil companies. And if that makes me unpatriotic and not supportive of the troops, then the person that's saying that is fucking psychotic. Anyway, that's, try to argue with that, Tim, right? But anyway.
I love that shit, man.
It's the truth. But anyway, back to the other thing that you were saying. It's called atrocity propaganda. We do it all the time. Like, basically, Do you remember the lead up to Gulf War I in the early 90s? There was the infamous Naira testimony. This was a 15-year-old a Kuwaiti girl testifying in front of a subcommittee in Congress, reading from a transcript, crying her eyes out, talking about how the Iraqi soldiers were throwing all the babies out of the incubators, which is viscerally horrifying to Americans, plays off Americans' sense of moral decency at their core, right? Turned out that was a completely false testimony. She is this is how ballsy they are. She was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador to the United States. Are you fucking kidding me? And yeah, you just fucking, if you just type in Naira, Nayrah testimony, it's a fucking Wikipedia fucking page that explains it non-controversially. And basically, and then those weeks leading up to the war, George H.W. Bush cited her 10 times. All of the mainstream press fell in line, and we did Iraq the first time around. We did it pretty much. We didn't, march into Baghdad and, remove Saddam, and the Kurds got slaughtered and we fucked them over. And then we started with the sanctions under Clinton and the fucking oil for food bullshit program that killed at least 500,000 children. All the depleted uranium we fucking put into that country after the first war. The cancer in this place is fucking crazy. It's all forgotten history shit, but it's real. So that's using atrocity propaganda. So now they're saying, Kim Jong-un, he's, feeding them to dogs and grinding them up. It's atrocity propaganda. Here's the truth. Kim Jong-un, he's got a cheese addiction that he can't beat. I mean, look it up. That's another thing I heard. Look it up. It might be true. Like he got gout because he can't stop eating cheese. And he keeps getting these cheeses imported from the Nordic countries, and he just can't stop gobbling up his chubby gullet with so much delicious cheese. But he's very lactose intolerant, so he gave himself gout.
Fucking idiot, man. God.
And his father, by the way, true story, had the world's biggest DVD collection in history.
Wow.
That's real. Wow. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Damn
I mean,
was into the U.S. That's what they love about us. Really, is our entertainment, man. Whether it's sports or music or movies, that's all we're good for, really.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In war. That in war, to your point. That shit in war, man. I noticed, man, there's been some movement on Facebook. I don't know if it's affected you, but I know Lee Camp talked about what Facebook is trying to do with corporate media, man. Damn it, dude. I'm over here shaking, man. Like, I know you got a YouTube channel. It's going to affect you if you put out videos. Dude, they want to shut us the fuck down. They want to broadcast more CNN because obviously CNN doesn't have access to people. MSNBC doesn't have any way to reach viewers. So they need to shut us up to make room for more of that corporate garbage, man. What do you think?
I think Facebook is fucking done, dude. Facebook is so fucked. All these algorithm changes, downgrading all sorts of independent content with the pretense of saying it's fake news when the actual purveyors of fake news, of both corporate and state-sanctioned news, i.e., let's say MSNBC, CNN, WashPo, New York Times, all of that shit. Basically now the fact checker for Facebook to determine which news stories are worthy are fucking people from the Washington fucking Post, dude. So basically, they throughout the fucking election and currently do all this fucking bullshit fake news that has a serious agenda. And now they scream fake news in order to isolate and degrade and marginalize real independent, fact-based, source-based news that has an agenda for the people. Absolutely. And it's sickening. I mean, fortunately, most people are hip to it, honestly. Yeah. And like, let's say, for example, CNN at this point, their ratings are already so fucking low that it's just fucking people like me and you with self-injurious behavior that subject ourselves to watching CNN all the time. That's why our viewers like us, because we watch it so they don't fucking have to. I mean, I watch that channel long enough, I almost fucking spin out and lose my fucking mind because they're such pieces of shit. But the thing is, though, they know they're losing their grip. They know nobody watches their fucking shows. But the thing is, what happens is they all feed into each other. Right now, New York Times, WashPo, and Wall Street Journal are the three mainstream newspapers of note that still exist, right? Because all these papers are so fucking broke. The only reason they exist is because fucking billionaires have bought them and are behind them and propping them up. For example, Washington Post with Jeff Bezos and all the crazy shit going on. I just did a piece about that, how now the newest policy, their journalists are not allowed on their own social media to critique any of the advertisers, sponsors, vendors, subscribers to the Washington Post. It's basically calling for like a bribe for like any big pharma or any industry. They're like, hey, advertise with us. And guess what? Our intrepid journalists can't critique you or else they're going to get, up to termination. And yes, the Washington Post Guild, the lobby, the union is fighting back against it. And we'll see what happens. But the fact that they're going in that direction is so fucking gnarly. And there's been some stories. And basically what the thing they do is this. And, fucking, for lack of a better word, operatives on Twitter do the same fucking thing too. They'll post something that's fucking that's fraudulent, that's manipulative, and they'll get called out for it, right? And then eventually they'll do a reply saying, oh, sorry, this was inaccurate, blah, blah, blah. But the damage is already fucking done.
Absolutely, bro. It's already out there.
Damage is already fucking done. Definitely. Like, here's one example is this. It was like some Harvard professor dude who's, obviously has a very anti-Russia, anti-Putinist agenda. Fine, fair enough. What he does is he posts out a picture of a whole bunch of empty seats that have like little kind of like pieces of like kind of paper, like almost like like diplomas or some sort of thing saying the person's name. And he's like, look at all of the journalists who died under shady circumstances while Putin's been in power, right? Somebody, and it's like a room full of maybe like 40, 50, something like that, right? And then the first response back is hey, more than half of these actually these deaths occurred under Yeltsin, who was aligned with the West. This is very sort of misleading of you to do. Right. And then eventually he replies, oh, sorry, yeah, I should have done that. But it already got like 40,000 fucking retweets and shit like that. God damn. And that's by fucking design, and it happens all the time. Here's one that spun me out. And I think people need to know about this. And fuck it, I'm going to put them on blast a little bit. It seems more and more to me that, Deray McKeeson has become the fucking co-opted corporate head of Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. He, because, he was just recently at an Aspen Institute thing, which is Madeleine Albright, all the fucking Clintons. He does native fucking advertising on his Twitter for, Burger King and Doritos. Fair enough. If you want to make a buck, that's something. But still, it's sort of douche. But here's one thing he did. He tweeted out, because in Planet of the Apes, the new movie, in one of the scenes, one of the apes was wearing a blue vest. Right. And he interpreted that, because he always wears that blue Patagonia vest, he interpreted that was someone in Hollywood making a reference to him and black people being apes. Turns out the original movie in 1978, one of the original characters has a blue vest, right? So he was ego tripping at the gates of hell there, tweeted it out. Everybody's losing their fucking minds. And then hours later, he's like, oh, sorry, that was a mistake. Damage is already fucking done, Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, that might have just been a mistake. You know what I mean?
What? I've seen that a couple ways, and I agree that, D-Ray's got a big head on his shoulders, and I heard that they shut him down by giving him money. Like at one point he was trying to do the right thing. He was more ethical, so to speak, but then they gave him a job in Baltimore. He took the job, and that's pretty much how you neutralize someone. You hire their ass. You don't get them killed. You don't take them for a long walk on a short pier. You give them a couple bucks, and they shut the fuck up. That's pretty much D-Ray. But yeah, I agree that he did have a big hit about that, but there is a racial undertone in our society about black people referring them to apes. I get where that's coming from, but there is no evidence at all, bro. No evidence at all that anybody was thinking that shit when they put the vest on that ape or whatever, and there is something to back it up, So like, dude, I look at it like it's a win, like you said. Whether he's right or wrong, he got a news cycle. Well, not really a news cycle, but
a Twitter cycle.
Yeah, they dragged him on The View. Whoopi Goldberg took his ass behind the shed, and just went to town on him. She really gave him the business. So.
Oh, she called him out on it?
Oh yeah, she called him out hard, man. It's not.
See, here's the thing. Of course, there's racial undertones in this country, and of course, there's unconscious bias and white supremacy. Of course. But to do something like that undermines that. Right? Because so many people on the right can be like, oh, see, look, this is just fucking crazy. There's no racial bias. This guy's just making shit up, That's one issue. Another issue with Deray, I'm sorry, but he's all about the charter school movement. Mm-hmm. And the charter school fucking thing, which is a bipartisan thing that, Obama's into and, Trump is into, Clintons are into. Yeah. Neoliberalism, exactly. I mean, Rahm Emanuel, Obama's boy, that guy's a fucking straight up criminal. I mean, David Axelrod, too. There's no fucking doubt about it. I mean, I was just in Chicago. I decided, during the day to just check out the South Side, because I heard it's like, Baghdad, on steroids, right?
Right.
It was like, fucking houses are fucking beautiful down there. No doubt there's violence at night, but during the day, there was a community football game going on. It's fucking rad. I was walking around with my Indian friend.
Right,
All the black people initially looked at me like, what the fuck is this? But once I said, hi, I'm John. I'm first time in Chicago. I'd like to visit your town. They were like, hey, and everybody was nice as fucking pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to Chicago.
But I think you're right. I think you're right about, I think you're right about like, they just kind of pay him off. It's like, back in the day, Ice Cube and his third solo album, Predator, he had a song called When Will They Shoot? And he has a lyric where he goes, they killed JFK in 63. So what the fuck you think they'll do to me?
There you go.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Put you in shitty movies with children. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or who knows? Maybe the CIA realized that Ice Cube was so strong, he inevitably was going to start a race war and inevitably the blacks were going to win. So they were like, get him in movies, put him in movies, throw money in, white pussy at him quick.
No, man, a lot of times they use that. Like Ice Cube, man, like, don't get me wrong, I liked Ice Cube's movies back in the day, and I, anybody trying to get money.
I still like Ice Cube. I still like Ice Cube. I like Ice Cube.
That doesn't change the fact, man, that's like a one-off. I hate when people say, well, look at Ice Cube, or look at, they just say, look at Diddy. Look at him. Shit, man, look at the Koch brothers. What that got to do with you? Like, so what does Ice Cube got to do with me and like all these other children that are living under the poverty rate or the high unemployment, the disparity in unemployment rates, it's just really shit, man. But you touched on something, man. I wrote down fucking neoliberalism. I have my definition as anybody who wants to privatize the hell out of everything and give it to corporations, whether it be through charter schools like you mentioned, whether it's outsourcing jobs or bringing in, sending jobs away by, doing the trade deals that we're competing with countries that don't have minimum wages, like all of that shit. That to me is neoliberalism, man. What's your definition of neoliberalism?
Well, I agree with you in that assessment. It's basically, I would say, it's a version of globalization that is not people-centric, that is corporation-centric, right? There's a number of ways that globalization can happen. There can be ways that it's more equitable, that it's more about understanding connectivity of life, seeing nationalism and nation states as lowbrow and antiquated relative to the transference of information and the transference of goods and products, But when it's all about maximizing profit for corporate entities, then it comes at the expense of not just the countries we're exploiting, but also ourselves at home. NAFTA was not good for Americans or Mexicans. I mean, you look in Mexico when these corporations were there, then you got a corporation with these shanty towns surrounding it. Their country's getting polluted to all high hell. In America, people are losing jobs. They can't afford to, take care of their families and stuff like that. And it led to more immigration from South America and Central America. That in combination with the war on drugs. Are you there?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Okay. The next level of it that is really nefarious is something I actually maybe a year ago I did a segment, a package we call them for Redacted about this. It was based on a very interesting piece by Aviva Chomsky, who is Noam Chomsky's oldest daughter, who's a very, very she's a professor, I think at Salem University or something, a great writer. Right. She actually focuses a lot on, I believe, immigration and Latin American issues. But this particular article, she was writing about neoliberalism on college campuses. And this is what's interesting. She was writing about how, things like the ideas of like safe places, safe spaces, trigger warnings, all of these different things have actually been co-opted and perverted by the university as a means of control. I.e., it's like the carrot and the stick. They'll give these kids their safe spaces where they can all be together and not have to be triggered by kind of like fucked up takes on things or words and racist shit and stuff like that. Right. They'll make sure that in their classes when a teacher is going to talk about a subject, they let them know ahead of time. You know what I mean? And fair. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Tell that to a fucking Vietnam War vet, but whatever. I don't want to get into that. But here's the thing, right? But basically the mentality is this, what they're more concerned, but here's the thing, but what they won't do is support any sort of like divestment stuff. You know, they're very, very wary. Sometimes they will actually divest a little from fossil fuel stuff, but they're very wary about any divestment stuff or kind of like class issue based things, because basically their mentality is this. They're like, hey, you know, neoliberalism is okay. You know, the 1% is actually okay as long as the 1% more resembles the United Colors of Benetton. As long as that 1% is made up of about 14% African Americans, 51 or 49% women, you know, 3 to 5, whatever percent, you know, is Asian population, and, you know, whatever's left over for the LGBTQ. As long as that 1% is, you know, diverse, then we're just fine. So they pump out these good neoliberals, these good globalists, neoliberal globalists, and the march goes on.
Yeah, you know, I was having a conversation with my wife earlier, man, and it came up, we were talking about conservatives, and she said, yeah, you know, Republicans and the conservatives, they love, like, you know, tax breaks, you know, that help the rich. And I said, well, you know, here goes one of those moments, babe, where you start to see through the clouds. I said, you know, who continued to push tax breaks for the rich? I said, Obama. I said, so one of the things that we do wrong, and me too, man, is like I may say, hey, man, Obama's a Republican. He's just like a Republican. And people listen to it, JFOD, and they're like, oh, shit, man, why is he saying that? And I don't give him the other piece. I don't tell him why I say it. So that's one of the reasons why I say Obama was just like a Republican to me in so many ways, other than his rhetoric. His rhetoric sounded like somebody who was more liberal, but the shit he did, actually, policies, bailing out Wall Street, bailing out the banks, you know, was it keeping the tax breaks for the rich and the wealthy, man? That's a Republican type thing. So I think we need to articulate that a little bit better, man. But I am proud to say, and I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but I want to say this. I went to D.C., because I live in Maryland, JFOD. I went to D.C., your spot where you work at. And I was talking to people on the street, and you're right. You're right. Most people have woken up to the bullshit of the media. None of my shit is scripted. I'm talking to people, asking them what they think about Russia, what they think about Putin, and they're giving me the same responses, not in detail like you, because you do this shit for a living, but they know what's up. Like, they're like, yeah, this is propaganda. I had regular citizens off the streets of D.C., not Congress people, not CEOs, but regular people going, yeah, man, we're worried about our bills, we're worried about our daycare, we're worried about our jobs. We don't care about Putin, and if push come to shove, I know our military can handle that. That's why we spend so much money on military. So a lot of people are waking up, JFOD, and I don't know, I guess we were talking about neoliberals, man. I don't know.
Seriously, Tim, you really think a factory worker in Wisconsin gives a fuck about Vladimir Putin and the Russian narrative? Are you fucking kidding me? This is inside the Beltway shit. And what should be very heartening for all of our listeners, these fucking Beltway people, these politicians and their corporate journalists, fucking lackeys and vice versa, they have insulated themselves so much to the point where they are so fucking out to lunch that they have no fucking idea what's going on, and they're so blinded by their own arrogance. I mean, think about the fucking 2016 election, okay? If you looked at the infographic on the New York Times website, it was like a line graph, right? Like a horizontal line graph. And at one point, earlier in the evening, it had Hillary 80% gonna win, Trump 20%. As you looked at it fucking move, the thing completely inverted itself. Completely fucking inverted itself. I mean, these people are so fucking crazy now to lunch. And it looks like the Democrats have learned nothing. Putting forth a candidate who doesn't take corporate money is a fucking proven fucking winner. Yeah. And they're not going to do it. They would rather, lose elections than they would separate from their corporate overlords. And because they have no message. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth. And that's what Obama fucking did. And guess what? He was just the fucking best at it. I mean, he fucking made, Slick Willie Bill Clinton look like fucking George W. Bush, for God's sakes. I mean, think about this with Obama. Think about this. Okay? The dude gets a Nobel fucking Peace Prize his first year in office for not being George W. Bush. Gives a speech in Prague talking about, nuclear disarmament and how important that is. Okay, great. Yes, I agree. Cut to his last year in office, he pledges $1 trillion over 30 years to modernize our nuclear arsenal. Completely against the spirit of the non-proliferation agreement, as in what you can do, there's wiggle room. You can decommission older nukes that don't have as much, fucking demolishing power and then make newer, more efficient ones. So you have the same number, but the ability to destroy the earth nth times over increases dramatically. Yeah. That's my guy? I don't fucking think so. Yeah, people are so emotionally connected to our candidates, right? People are so still emotionally connected to somebody like Barry Obama, which is what he went with until that. His name was Barry, by the way. He changed it back to Barack when he thought it would play better, because no one wants President Barry, but whatever, that's another story. And also, true story, the hope and change fucking slogan, he rejected that at first until his campaign people sold him on it. And then he said it to inspire a gazillion people in the country, including myself, let's be honest. But anyway, yeah, that's a little interesting fucking tidbit.
Yeah. You know,
but let me finish my point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. What's your point?
Okay. I forget, dude.
Yeah, I forget. Look, dude, but it's refreshing hearing somebody really tell the truth about Barack Obama, man. It's like,
here's the thing: people are so emotionally invested in him. I saw a flyer inside a bar in D.C. that I guess his birthday was last week, August 4th. People were getting together to have a celebration for his birthday with a whole bunch of like variety act performers to do this sort of thing. And it's the sort of thing where there's actually real cognitive dissonance here, where you can actually state to people about, say, some of the transgressions of Hillary Clinton, the transgressions of Barack Obama. You could say factual things and they can't even fucking hear those words. And it's a very interesting thing.
Oh, it's even worse. It's worse, JFOD, where they rationalize the shit. Like, oh, well, with Obama, it was always, well, look, man, he's going against all these racists. How could he, how could he do? He wants to do good things, but he can't do them because, and then Trump comes in and is like, look, man, I'm signing shit. Just keep putting it on the desk. My arm's working, baby. My arm's working. And these people, I look back at them and like, remember, you said he couldn't do that. He could have done that. Of course, it could have got vetoed by the by Congress. But look, you see what happens. Watch what happens. Like, maybe he could have went to court and, Supreme Court overturned it or whatever. But look, he's doing it. He's pushing through his agenda. So, like, you can't. So many people. Yeah,
he didn't. Obama didn't have to ramp up NSA's surveillance. He didn't have to do that. He could have gotten Gitmo done if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. He fucking ran on it,
J5.
This fucking Frankenstein Affordable Care Act situation is a fucking disaster. Is Trump's fucking replacement better? No. Right. But the truth is, the fucking Affordable Care Act, let's be honest about it, all of these insurance companies are allowed to opt out of the exchanges whenever they want, and most fucking have. Right. So certain states don't even have one in the exchange. It's led to a bigger consolidation of insurance companies from 6 trying to merge to 3. Let's just be honest about it, right? And at the very least, with this back and forth now, finally, there's actually a movement for Medicare, Medicaid for all. Guess what? If the Affordable Care Act remains unchecked, the fucking real movement for actual single payer, that wasn't going to get off the ground, dude. Let's fucking be honest, A
lot of people are not talking about the Affordable Care Act, how many people really get hurt by it. You don't hear that publicized much, but there are a lot of not only small businesses, but there are regular people who are really getting hit because if you don't make over the threshold, you do get hit with those fines. Those fines do count. That's somebody's groceries. That's somebody's Christmas. That's somebody's ability to live indoors. And a lot of us, man, I think some liberal type folks, and I say us, I don't know, man. I don't know what I am now, Jay Fine. I'm learning too much shit about what's going on, man. Do you have a political, what are you? I don't know how to say it. Other than,
I'm non-affiliated.
Yeah. Dude, it's hard. I don't know how people can pick.
I don't know. Chomsky says he's an anarchist syndicalist. I don't really understand what that means, but if it's good enough for Noam, it's good enough for me,
Hey, he's read a lot more books than I have, man. I just know what
stinks. Me too.
You know what I mean? I know this stinks what's going on.
Or how about this? How about the fucking Obamacare, how much money it made for the fucking insurance companies?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They made out, bro. Romney Care. It was Romney Care on steroids is what it was. And like you said.
Yeah, but when it's their guy, when it's your guy, you're cool with it. When it's not your guy, you're not cool with it.
Dude, I
don't care about who does it.
I didn't get into this.
I care about actions.
Right. I didn't get into this until 2014, 13, like late two. So like I didn't know this stuff under Obama. But when I started learning it, I started talking about it. We got people who've been here the whole time, JFOD, who didn't say shit under Obama, knew what was going on, JFOD. They had to. Like, how could you not know the more countries we ramped up to bombing 7 countries? You had to know that if you've been covering politics. And when you go back at the videos, JFOD, they were not talking about it. They were not hitting the Obama administration. But now, if you don't hit Trump, they call you what? Putin? Have they stalked you yet, called you a Kremlin stooge or a Putinite or something?
I mean, you'd be surprised. I get it very, very rarely. Okay. And when I do, I can shut it down pretty immediately. You know, what I'll get sometimes is from a Redacted fan. They'll be like, hey, you know, you're on Redacted Tonight. You know, I hear that that's like, you know, funded by Russia. What's up with that? And I'll be like, look, the way that I see it is it's Kremlin funded, not Kremlin controlled. We do everything that we want to do. You compare us to the corporate media landscape, which is so broken. It's like, holy shit, we're getting out as much truth as we can, as quickly as we can, as they're clamping down on everybody every which way. RT America provides us an awesome platform. You know, we get to have an amplified voice. We get to have resources, you know, and if it would be uncomfortable for me to, you know, talk about some corrupt oligarch in the fucking Russian parliament who's trying to like get some real estate deal done through the Duma. I mean, I don't really think America gives a fuck about that. And I have absolutely no power to do anything about that. And the truth is, so that's what I say, and no one can fuck with me on that. But the truth is, between me and you and your listeners, if I were to actually talk about you know, Russo-American relations more, I would be highly critical of America, to be honest. I would be highly critical of the encroachment of NATO since the fall of the Soviet Union and the Berlin Wall, which was supposed to actually fucking stop. There was an informal agreement between Gorbachev and James Baker, you know, who was, you know, Reagan's attaché, that was like, hey, here's the deal, Gorbachev. We're going to reunify Germany, which freaks you out because, you know, you fought against them alongside us in World War I and World War II. You guys lost 25 million people in World War II. America lost 500,000. There's a difference. Yet in America, we don't give any fucking credence to the contribution of Russia in World War II fighting the fucking Nazis, okay? You know, so we tell you we're going to...
Joe, don't lose your thought, dude. I have never heard anyone make that statement before, bro. I have never heard... Damn it, dude. I ain't never heard nobody say that shit. That's huge.
It's the fucking truth, dude.
Dude, they don't say the truth. They don't say it. You know, like it's not being publicized. These propagandists, these spokesmodels, these I don't know, these commercial, I don't know what the hell they are, man. These are hired hands on our news media. They should be saying what you just said over and over, but they don't want to.
Tim, it doesn't fit into their narrative. Absolutely. It doesn't fit into their narrative at all. Okay, so and you know, I learned about this from Ray McGovern. You know, I didn't know about this agreement. And here's the thing, and I'll tell you who Ray McGovern is. He's a retired CIA agent who started a whistleblowing group called it's called VIPS. It's called Veteran Intelligence Professionals to Restore Sanity. And they recently released a report because they actually got access to the DNC server. And they determined the smoking gun about the leak that actually, because of the salient point is because of and they had like an IBM expert look into it because of the download speeds. Right. It is no way that it could have happened offsite via the internet. It had to be an internal fucking hard drive. All right, whatever. All right, but okay. So anyway, so this is what it was. It was an informal agreement. It's an anomaly in history because Gorbachev couldn't get in writing, but Gorbachev had no leverage when the Soviet Union was collapsing. You know, he could have been completely demolished by the West, by the U.S. So he agreed, yes, okay, you can reunify Germany, and James Baker goes, but NATO will not put one boot farther east. Like no countries in the former Soviet sphere of influence will join NATO. Cut to by the time, you know, then George H.W. Bush, cut to by the time we're done with Clinton, over 12 nations had joined NATO, okay? Now there's over fucking 20. So if you look at a fucking map, it's basically a whole bunch of countries that have Article 5, that if, you know, there's one attack in one of those countries, then all of them by law have to attack the nation that did that, meaning Russia. As in one fucking, you know, dynamite explosion in Turkey that they say is the Russian government. And that's what happened with the fucking, I'm sorry. That's what, and so first of all, what I'll say is this. I don't say this stuff on our show because then I would expose myself to being, some sort of, Russian shill or something, right. But it's actually the fucking truth and how I fucking feel. And the reason that Crimea happened in 2014, in part, was it illegal? Yes. Was it against the norms of international law, as Chomsky said? Yes. Was it also in reaction to the fact that the U.S. was instrumental in figuring out who was going to be put into that Ukrainian government, i.e. Poroshenko being our fucking boy, the president, and us wanting to get the prime minister, Yatsenyuk, who used to be in charge of the central bank in Ukraine. And basically there's a leaked fucking phone call that everybody should look up and listen to. You should put a link to it. She had to apologize for it, but I can't believe it. Well, I can believe that didn't get any play in Western media. Victoria Nuland, the Undersecretary of State for Eurasian Affairs at the time under Kerry, is on the phone with the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine talking about who they want to put in power as the prime minister. And they decided that Yatsenyuk would be the right guy because he has central bank experience. And she goes, oh, and by the way, fuck the EU. She goes, fuck the EU. She says it, meaning like, we don't give a fuck what they want. This is what we're going to fucking do. And she had to apologize for that statement, but nobody knows about it besides, but it's on YouTube. Just type in Victoria Nuland, fuck the EU. And Victoria Nuland, for the record, is married to Robert Kagan, who is part of the really big neocon cabal, the people, the deeper cuts beneath Cheney and Rumsfeld and Wolfowitz and Bush and, Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell. These are the deeper cuts. Robert Kagan, Kim Kagan, Fred Kagan, Bill Kristol, a junior one of their douchebags, this guy Jamie Kirchick, and there's others. They're a whole cabal. And basically, she's fucking married to him. And Robert Kagan, who always wants like the hawkish candidate. These were the guys that were behind the architects behind the fake WMDs for Iraq 2. I'm sorry. And the thing is, Robert Kagan initially was supporting Jeb Bush, then was supporting Marco Rubio, then Ted Cruz, right? Then when it got down to Clinton and Trump, he fucking endorsed Clinton and threw a fucking fundraiser for her. And I know about this because of an amazing documentary I implore all of your listeners to watch called A Very Heavy Agenda that Robbie Martin, Abby Martin's brother, made. It's in 3 parts. It's 7.5 hours long, and it's the deepest dive. Like, I interviewed him about it. I'm like, Robbie, why would you not do anything else with your life for 2 years? And it's on Vimeo on demand for like $7. Fucking buy it. Support him in it. You will learn so much.
Robbie,
and
Robbie, you better stop being an asshole on Twitter, man. You're doing great work. How I'm gonna work with you if you've been out, but I'm just joking. Robbie, man, if you did that, I'm gonna check it out, bro. And we need to talk.
Yeah, no, Robbie's a good dude. It's just, he's been slaying neocons for a long time. So when he sees Tucker Carlson do it, he gets upset. That's the thing about me, though. I don't give a fuck who does it. I care about actions, right? Yeah. Like, here's the thing. Let's be honest. Do I think that Donald Trump is ill-prepared to be president? Do I think he's a corrupt scumbag real estate dude? Yes, I do. Yeah. True story. My father's a real estate attorney. Trump owes my dad $2,000 from the 90s. I swear to fucking God. So that's my beef with him. It's fucking true.
That's got interest.
I've been trying to ask my dad. Yeah. Oh yeah, but I'm gonna fucking. There's got to be points on that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna ask him. I'm trying to get the specifics of the situation out of my dad, and I'm gonna pursue it. Yeah, man. I'm gonna make my good buddy Jeff, he's gonna get on the case. Dude, but anyway,
let's jump to this real quick, man. We got a little bit more, just a couple more minutes.
Let me just say this one thing, and I'll finish up because there's one quick point. So anyway, right? So you fuck Donald Trump, right? Fuck him, whatever, right? So here's the thing, though. What he did fucking do is stop funding the CIA to arm and fund the terrorists in Syria. I don't care, Tim. I don't care if Satan's forked cock did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't care who did it. Right? He did that, and guess what? The first week he got in office, guess who he had the fucking, whatever to meet with? Tulsi fucking Gabbard. Yeah. He met with Tulsi the first week. Tulsi's fucking badass.
Yeah, she is.
She went over to Syria, comes back, is like, oh, they're just arming the terrorists. Syrian people are like, hey, we love an American here, but why are you arming the fucking terrorists? Why are you arming Al-Qaeda, al-Nusra, etc., fucking ISIS? Right. And she's like, I didn't have an answer for them. I introduced into Congress. She did the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. Gets pushed back from fucking Congress on that? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
So then Trump stop the funding. I don't care who fucking does it. I don't care. I don't care if I don't care if, the fucking corpse of, Ronald Reagan's fucking prostate does it. You know what I mean? I don't care if, Henry Kissinger's fucking, 666 Armageddon beast. All right, I gotta stop. But you know what I'm fucking, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I do.
Also, last thing I'll say, and yes, I don't want Trump to I want Trump out. I want his bullshit out, his terrible machinations and his lies, and the fact that we have to follow this shit on Twitter. He didn't do TPP. He didn't do TPP, which Bernie and Elizabeth Warren didn't want. And guess who did? Fucking Obama and Hillary.
Hillary Clinton. Dude, lightning round. DNC fraud lawsuit. Do you support the DNC fraud lawsuit? Yes or no?
Yes.
He does. Colin Kaepernick, should he be playing? Yes or no?
Yes, he should do whatever the fuck he wants. He's a fucking American hero.
TYT just got a huge contract for $20 million from a venture capital funding group called 3L Capital. They plan to double their staff. You got any thoughts about that shit?
Just don't fuck with Jimmy Dore. That's all I gotta say.
I love it. Look, man.
Or that Michael Tracy dude. He seems like a good dude.
I met Michael Tracy too, man. He's all right. He's just like, he's a journalist. He's one of those guys, man. He's like a pit bull on a story, right? He believes what he believes. I'll give him that. Look, guys, I don't think Michael Tracy lies about shit. And I don't think he's influenced by anyone. I can tell you that in my brief conversation with him in person in D.C. But JFOD, man, you've been a great guest, man. Tell people where to go to get more from you, bro.
Okay, yeah. First thing, please subscribe to youtube.com/redacted tonight. We'll be rad. Share our videos like wildfire if you think they're relevant. There's all sorts of, corporate algorithm fucking things going against us, but we will push through. There's a lot of redactivists out there. On Twitter @redacted tonight. I'm at The Real JFOD. Lee is at Lee Camp, and through that you can find our other cast members as well. Please support us there. A little Easter egg that I actually don't promote that much that you guys can do. If you go to my old website, it's somewhat dormant, but if you go to livefromouterspace.com and you click the merch tab, there's about 9 EPs, albums, I call them mid-fi, that you can download for free. It's pay what you want. Throw me some shekels if you so choose. If not, just grab them. It's older shit. I think it's still relevant. I think you'll dig it. Another thing, dudes, this Nick Branagh's Draft Bernie thing is fucking legit. Very, very interesting. There's going to be the first convergence, the first town hall, September 8th through 10th in D.C. at American University. Cornel West, who's endorsed it, is going to be speaking. Shama Sawant, Seattle City Council member, superstar, Socialist Alternative Party, is going to be there. It looks like Redacted Tonight is going to be doing a stand-up show, which is exciting. I think superstar Mr. Tim fucking Black is going to be there. Yes, so yeah, come be part of that party, guys. Basically what we're doing is we're figuring it out. Part of it is giving the petitions to try to get Bernie to run independent. But guess what? If that happens, great. If not, we have other means and avenues of recourse, and there's a lot of plotting and scheming going on in a positive way. And and in the meantime, just fucking go after the corporate media and the corporate politicians. For the love of God, follow these pieces of shit, these CNN pieces of shit, and tweet at them when they fucking lie. Tweet redacted videos. Tweet Tim Black clips that are relevant. Tweet Jimmy Dore clips that are fucking relevant, and give them no fucking quarter, because that's how we can affect change. And let's fucking do it.
Dude, I love it, man. JFOD, you got a lot of passion, man. You got a lot of heart. You don't give a fuck. I love that, man. Guys, go to Redacted Tonight. I know you're already subscribed to Lee and Redacted Tonight. You better be subscribed to the whole crew that Redacted Tonight. JF O'Donnell, The Real JFOD on Twitter. And look, guys, check out this the music on livefromouterspace.com. And
it's actually all stand-up. It's all stand-up albums.
It's all stand-up. Shit,
yeah.
Dude. All right. And, dude, I want to see some short clips. Just like Lee's doing, you need to be doing some of those too, man. I'm going to start doing them. Yeah, one more thing I want to tell you. Tim. So, starting a side project with Tiffany Joy Bebold, Rachel Couch, and Jason Yawn, amazing people, and myself. We're starting a podcast called Yikes City, and keep a lookout for it. It's going to be on the We Act Radio Network.
And the initial thing we're going to focus on is looking at this splintered left, which is fucking crazy to me, and realizing how we all have to see the big picture about some of these issues, like endless war, like mass incarceration, like the mass incarceration, like the war on drugs, like the corporate media being the propaganda mouthpiece of not just the corporations but also the state, and how we have to really, really work together for that. And the idea that groups like Dem Enter and Dem Exit, that both have brilliant people, are at each other's throats or have any animosity whatsoever because of the difference of one tactic, is fucking crazy. And that goes on in so many other ways. So that's initially what we're going to focus on, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So keep an eye out for hashtag Yike City.
I love it, man. Thank you once again, Jay, for being here, man. And you know what? We'll pick up. We need to do this again so we can have that conversation about left, working with left. Because I know that's something you said you wanted to talk about, but I had to hit these quick topics. I want to cut this video up and get us out on all these topics we hit, because we bounced around. It's good shit, man.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Anytime. Tim, I'll come on whenever, dude. Just let the people know about killer robots. I'm not even joking.
Dude, I got to dude, I'm not up to speed on the killer robots, bro. You're going to have to help me out, man. Give it up for JFOD, guys. And there's the music. Man, you look, dude, you killed it. Thank you so much, bro.
Anytime.
You got it, man.
Thanks for having me, dude.
You know it, man. Great job.
That was fun.
Great fucking show, bro. Great show.
True. Funny. Tim Black. I am TimBlack.com. Tim Black.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show, man. JFOD was an amazing guest. Once again, go to RedactedTonight.com. Go to Redacted on YouTube. You also find JFOD's got his own Facebook. He's got his own Twitter. That's The Real JFOD, just like The Real Tim Black. It's The Real JFOD, guys. So thank you so much for being here. I'll see you again, 1, 2, 3, Thursday, where my guest will be none other than my man Jared Back from the DNC fraud lawsuit. Will be here to talk more about the lawsuit and answer a lot of questions and get to the bottom of that. And I love you guys. I'll see you soon, and we are out of here.
So say good night to the bad guy.